We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Carencro Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros improved to 52-55 by taking 2 out of 3 from the Chicago White Sox on the road. That puts them 2 games behind the division-leading Texas Rangers in the AL West. Next up is another road series, this time against the Los Angeles Angels, and it begins tonight. First pitch from Angel Stadium is scheduled for 8:38, and the action can be heard on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. LSU commit and left-handed pitcher Logan Schmidt was selected by the Cleveland Guardians in the second round of this most recent MLB draft, but decided to not sign with the franchise. Kobe Buffkin is signing a training camp deal with the New Orleans Pelicans and will be one of the players competing for the final roster spot. Buffkin's a former first-round pick back in 2023 and played for New Orleans during the Vegas Summer League. Back on Friday, LeBron James finally made a decision and elected to sign a 2-year deal with the Philadelphia 76ers to return to the Eastern Conference. James will be paid $8 million over the 2-year deal. The expected Philadelphia starting lineup now features Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, and Joel Embiid. And Jackson Koivin won the 3M Open at 21 years old, becoming the youngest American golfer to win a PGA Tour event by multiple shots in 94 years. I'm James Mesh, and this has been your 2-minute drill on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 104 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana sports station, your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Dawson Iserloh prides himself on taking a deep dive to uncover all the relevant data about the sports and sports teams he loves. And now he's sharing all those facts inside his big brain with all of you. Here is the LohDown with D-Loh on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It's the LohDown. It is the LohDown. It is ESPN 1037 Lafayette, 1041 Lake Charles. We are back in the studio. I almost forgot how the studio mics work because it's been that long, but we are here. Dawson Iserloh inside the Beal and Hebert studios in person. Long week of travel, long week of content, really productive week. I thought it was awesome, to be honest with you. All the interviews, all the content. I hope you guys enjoyed it back home. Did speak with some of you. Ran into some people that enjoyed the content throughout the weekend, so appreciate all the support. Headed out to Small Sliders for the big anniversary bash on Saturday. That was awesome. Shout out to our guy Greg McBride, a.k.a. the Boudin King, for taking home the Small Sliders Eating Championship. First one ever. James Mesh was there to witness it. He was in attendance. We are going to bring James into the show, by the way, because we haven't talked to James a whole bunch in recent memory. So at least while he's here for the first hour, we'll do that in a bit. But yeah, really, really fun week, busy week, and now we are back. And ironically enough, we're back for a little while, and then we've got something else going on. More on that tomorrow. Stay tuned. It's pretty big, not going to lie to you. But kind of had the weekend to, decompress a little bit, obviously get rested up and ready to roll, and also kind of think about what we maybe learned and didn't learn, right? We did our reactions. You may have heard that on Friday's show, but I'm kind of in there. I'm kind of in football mode now. I'm still, as I said before, media days is where it starts for me, and it kind of scratches that itch. It kind of flips that switch at least halfway on in the back of my head. I still don't want to go all the way 100% football because I am enjoying baseball right now. The Astros are playing well outside of last night. So we're still going to be talking about some of that stuff, but the countdown's on. You know what I mean? I mean, when we get back next week, it's going to be August 1st. It's actually going to be August 1st, what? By the end of this week, right? Yeah. Friday is going to be the 31st, so Saturday will be August 1st. We'll be a couple days into August by the time we get back on Monday. And we're like, what? A week and a half away from the Hall of Fame game? Which is a ridiculous thing to think about. So I'm ready to roll in some ways, you know, but I'm still kind of fighting it a little bit. There's that contradiction in my brain right now, but we're going to get through it. Don't worry. We got a great show lined up, you know, return to normalcy a little bit. I decided to hold off for a couple more weeks on like our regular rotation of guests, but I need to get Preview 32 rolling. I'm going to try and map that out. I think we might start it towards the end of this week, or we might just go ahead and hold off and do it next week. We'll have to make a decision on that soon. But Preview 32, if you haven't heard of that, that is my series. I've done it for 2 years now. This will be the third year we do it. We do one big in-depth segment with someone who covers all 32 NFL teams. So 32 individual segments. We call it Preview 32. Makes sense there, right? And it's been really fun for us to kind of have a little bit of a base of each team and what the people who cover that team think heading into the season. Last year, we tried something new. We had them all give their record predictions. And by the end of it, I was like, well, somebody's going to be wrong because there's too many wins here that have been predicted because, you know, people who cover the team tend to be a little higher on that team than maybe the consensus. Sometimes it works out that way. So that's going to be getting rolling soon. And then, as I said, like by next week, we'll have legitimate preseason football going on, and the full-blown football frenzy, football countdown will be here. So here's what we're going to do today. Some local guests that you're quite familiar with. 1:30, Kevin Foote, host of Footnotes. As a result of the way last week went, I wasn't able to, of course, have Kevin on the show. And I actually did my SEC Media Day reports with Jordy, so I didn't talk to Kevin during his show either. So we're going to talk to Kevin at 1:30. Excited to get him back in the mix. We've got Astros to discuss, maybe a little Saints, but I think we're going to lean heavily on the Astros since today's poll question plays into that as well. Then at the top of hour number 2, only one guest in the second hour, and it's going to be Raymond Parch III, RP3. You just heard him on RP3 and Mesh. So here's the thing. That's another one. I was sitting there and I texted him and I said, you know, of all the, like, we were together all last week and we talked so much off the air, we never talked on the air at all. He wasn't on my show. I wasn't on his. So let's go ahead and give some thoughts. Let's talk some SEC football. Let's talk some football in general. And we'll do that to start, and maybe even some baseball as well. We'll do that in hour number 2. So RP3 at the top of hour number 2. And then it'll just be me the rest of the way. So all that coming up here. Locked in today is going to be a little different because I wasn't necessarily locked into anything in particular. It's just a combination of thoughts and experiences. Let's do a little bit of a unique version of Locked In on a Monday. Let's get it going.
D-Loh is the kind of guy that stays locked in. On what? Well, that depends on the night. But you can guarantee there was some sporting event that he found interesting. It's time to find out what D-Loh was locked in on the LohDown.
So, first things first, one thing I was locked in on was getting home this weekend, but we did that. We did that successfully. There were no deer in the road on the way back. I can confirm that. So the deer, he must have went back and told his friends not to mess with the guys rolling down the interstate in the white vehicle. So we were good on that accord. We did make it back. As I said, settling back in after a week like that, you kind of sit back and you start to have those moments. You're like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. I forgot about that. I think my biggest takeaway overall from SEC Media Days is kind of twofold. On one hand, the quarterback experience in the league this year is on a different level than any year I can remember in recent memory. And as I said before, I know somebody else, I saw on Twitter, somebody mentioned the year where like Manziel and McCarron and like there was that group of quarterbacks after Manziel had broken on the scene, won the Heisman. So that was what, 2012-ish, 2013, somewhere in that range. But I don't really remember that off the top of my head, like going into it. And of course, you know, I was middle school, high school student, so I wasn't necessarily like doing preview shows about it either. But it's off the charts, right? The quarterback experience level Even somebody like, ironically enough, Trinidad Chambliss is maybe the guy who we think of as the most highly touted in some ways as far as how he played last year. And he's only got 1 year of FBS football experience. Now, he played a lot at the lower levels, and we know the story and how great it's been to see him get up and get his chance. But he's on that list. Lenora Sellers has 2 full years as a starter. Sam Levitt has 2 full years as a starter. You go up and down, right? And we did a lot of this last year. Gunnar Stockton has a full year. Arch Manning has a full year. And not only are they experienced, but they're also highly touted. And a lot of these guys have some of these traits. I have said this before, and I do think it needs to be brought up again sometimes. There's a difference between quarterbacks that get highly touted in college because they're going to be really good college football quarterbacks, and then quarterbacks who get highly touted in college because they have traits that NFL teams are going to like. You know what I mean? Like Anthony Richardson is somewhat of a good example of this. He never had that like massive, crazy breakout type star-studded Heisman season at Florida. But there was always buzz around him because he had this rocket of an arm and he had all these traits that NFL teams were going to like, even though obviously it hasn't worked out in the NFL yet either. Same thing with Will Levis. That was a year, too, where I kept sitting there going, all right, like what is it that we're super excited about this player? Like why are we really losing our mind? On a different note, and I know this particular quarterback, let's remember college version. We didn't know any of the baggage and the other stuff that he was doing off the field that wasn't very cool at all. Deshaun Watson did not have a ton of buzz about his pro prospects going into his last year at Clemson. At least I don't remember. Like I just remember being like, man, there's not a bunch of talk about this. And then, but we knew he was a great college quarterback. Then he put together that last season. He did what he did against Bama. They won the championship. And so like then you started to have that momentum built. But I feel like the buzz around Deshaun Watson was like, yeah, he's going to be really good at college football quarterback. I'm wondering where those lines can get blurred, right? Like, even if Lenora Sellers doesn't have a great season, you could see an NFL team taking a chance on him with a pretty high pick because you go, hey, I can't teach a guy to be 6'4", built like a tank, and have a cannon. Arch, I think maybe some of the same stuff, but you certainly see it translating to the college game, and he had some moments last week. Gunnar Stockton's maybe one of the prime examples for me of, all right, this guy has a chance to be a really, really good college quarterback and be perfect for what Georgia needs and help that team. Personally, I don't think I'm going to see it as far as Gunnar's concerned at the next level. I don't think I'm ever going to be, and maybe that'll change. You know, look, I never saw it with the Carson Beck thing either, and, you know, I guess I was kind of right on that because he didn't end up getting picked super high. But I wonder to myself, like, is Gunnar Stockton going to end up being a really good college quarterback that doesn't get talked about quite as much because we don't exactly know if he's going to be a first-round pick and play on Sundays. But the point is the depth and the experience at the quarterback position is maybe as high as it's been in any year in recent memory in the SEC. I don't know if that goes, I wouldn't say that's like a thing across the board in college football, but keep in mind, even some of the other big-time power programs, Julian Sayin back as an experienced quarterback at Ohio State. Dante Moore, maybe the most surprising returning quarterback in the entire sport back at Oregon, with your boy backing him up, Patrick Mahomes Light backing him up over there. That's going to be fascinating quarterback room to keep an eye on. So that is a theme. I said my point to start was twofold because of this. At the same time, I could not help but sit there thinking to myself, but there's got to be a couple guys we're just not talking about right now that are going to be in the conversation at the end of the year. And the exact player that is the model for that is Trinidad Chambliss. We did not know 1 calendar year ago today. I had no idea who that human being was. I had never heard that name in my entire life. I think the first time I heard it was maybe like week 2 when Austin Simmons had like a little nagging injury. And they were like, yeah, it's going to be the Chambliss kid. And I was like, okay, what's that going to look like? Maybe even going into the Tulane game, because I remember he played in the Tulane game that I was paying extra attention to. And he was awesome. And I was like, well, wait a minute. What's the deal with this guy? And, you still were like, well, is it a lane offense? Oh, no, this guy's actually really, really legit and like maybe one of the best quarterbacks in the country. To that same point, I knew who Ty Simpson was at this time a year ago, but I didn't know how good he was. Had no idea. You just kept hearing the name. You kept hearing the name. And then I go back to the Alabama-Florida State game, which was, of course, like by a million miles, the high point of FSU's season. They were off the rails after that. And I walked away from that going, man, that Simpson kid's pretty tough. Like, FSU was all over him, and he stood in there and made some tough throws. Like, I think this kid might be all right. And that one ended up working out. He was a really good player, and he ends up going in the first round. So there are Trinidad Chamblises and Ty Simpsons out there in college football right now. It's not a guarantee that there's a couple of them floating around the SEC, right? Whoever Tennessee ends up giving the job to, whoever Bama ends up giving the job to, Minchie at Kentucky, Camario Taylor at Mississippi State, although he is certainly more buzzed about going into the year than Chambliss and Simpson were. And a couple guys who probably are buried on the depth chart right now that for maybe some weird circumstances, injury here, injury there, poor performance, are going to get chances to play. Maybe whatever Missouri rolls with, right? If it's Austin Simmons over there. There's names that we're not talking about that are going to break onto the scene at some point in this college football season at the quarterback position. And some of the guys that we're going, hey, well, that guy's got a bunch of experience, man. Looks like he's got all the traits, got all the tools. Some of those guys are going to have terrible seasons, right? Like Garrett Nussmeier did last year. You go down the list, right? Carson Beck ended up in the national championship game, and I still never thought he had a good season, but that's neither here nor there. That's, I think, my big takeaway. And I know it's a little QW of me to be talking only quarterbacks as a result of it, but it's a fascinating position for me. It's one of my favorite things to watch and pay attention to. And it's one of those things that I actually do feel like you can, I feel qualified to sit there and watch it and decide what I think is good and bad at the position more so than defensive line play, like hand technique and things of that nature. So that's where we're at. Let's do this. Let's take a break now. I want to bring James Mesh into the fold on the other side. He's got another tweak to his appearance. He's been here. He's been grinding. He's got another vacation coming up, so that's exciting for him. And LeBron James signed with the 76ers, and we basically couldn't even address it last week because of everything going on. So a lot to discuss. Let's do that when we return. You're listening to the LohDown.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
With storm season having arrived, by the way, I don't know if y'all saw this, like a Category 5 hurricane sitting in the Atlantic right now. Fortunately, though, it doesn't seem like they think it's going to make landfall or mess with anybody. But that goes to show you, storm season is here, and you got to be aware of these things. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana sports station, and Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley bring you these hurricane safety tips. Make sure to secure your home and bring in outdoor items before the storm makes landfall. Have an emergency kit stocked with water, food, and medications. Know your evacuation routes and listen to local authorities. Stay informed with the battery-powered radio and make sure you have fresh batteries. Remember, safety is in your hands. These hurricane preparedness tips are brought to you by Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley, your local Generac dealer. Visit midsouthpowersolutions.com.
Make sure to set your alarm and tune in Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock for Sports Shorts here on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Join me, Ronnie Rance, and the Sports Shorts team of Tommy Christsan, Hunter McCann, and the crazy man, Joel Davis, as we break down the sports and teams that you love. The LSU Tigers, New Orleans Saints, and everything in between. Tune in Saturday mornings from 10 to noon for Sports Shorts here on Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
And now time for the Expert Minute, brought to you by Sugarland Exterminating.
Ever wonder why bugs seem to love your home as much as you do? One big reason, moisture. Roaches, termites, and ants are drawn to damp areas. Check under sinks, around windows, and in attics for leaks and excess moisture. A little home maintenance goes a long way in keeping pests out. Got unwanted guests? Call Sugarland Exterminating at 337-367-1414 or visit sugarlandexterminating.com for more information.
Sugarland Exterminating. Pest-free environment we're creating. Spiders, roaches, rats, and mice. Those awful termites are not so nice. Get rid of all your pests right now. Call Sugarland Exterminating.
Termites, they're here. They're invasive. They can destroy your home if left untreated. Sugarland Exterminating has been in business for over 50 years, and they have the experience to effectively treat termites. Call 367-1414 or visit sugarlandexterminating.com.
And that has been your Expert Minute, brought to you by Sugarland Exterminating.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With MASH.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
The United States Deputy Sheriff's Association is a national nonprofit and the largest non-governmental provider of services to law enforcement. The USDSA assists city, county, state, and federal agencies with free safety equipment donations and officer survival training, along with cash donations to families of law enforcement officers who perished in the line of duty, a citizen awareness program, and more. For more information on United States Deputy Sheriff's Association, please visit usdeputy.org.
Back to the sports talk you not only want, but need. This is ESPN, 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
We're back here in the Beal and Hebert studios. Good to be back. James Mesh is also here. He never left, though. He was holding it down all last week. Massive shout out to him for that. He also joined me somewhat voluntarily at the Small Sliders Eating Championship on Saturday. First off, James, I guess we'll ease into it here. Any big takeaways? I know you were watching from afar, probably thinking about how you would have done. Can we pencil you in for the next Slider Eating Championship?
I mean, I'd be down to do it. It's just, if you're going to bet on me, you're just going to lose money.
14 sliders got it done.
Yeah.
There was certainly some conversation beforehand from us and others on what it was going to take. I thought somebody was going to get to 30.
And I thought you were crazy for that.
And clearly I was. I guess I didn't think about, like, small sliders, and by the way, it's because they're, great people, good friends of ours. They serve a hefty slider. You know what I mean? It's not a small piece of meat on there. So I'm thinking maybe in my head I was just picturing a smaller slider.
You probably felt like you were going to look at a smash burger, in like a smaller version of it. But even though it wasn't even like quote unquote fully dressed, because Smalls puts the pickle and the sauce and stuff. It was just
we had people opting to add sauce, which I thought was a little crazy, but they were like, "Hey, I want to enjoy it. The sauce is incredible," which it is.
If I'm going to lose, at least let me let me enjoy it a little bit.
Everybody who competed got at least 9 down. Nobody lost their lunch, so to speak, which was a rule stipulation, of course.
From what we saw.
At least live and in person. And 14 got it done, so shout out to Greg. I thought it was a smashing success.
It was a good one.
There you go, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Okay. No, go ahead if you got anything else.
I didn't have much to it.
All right, here's the thing. You now have glasses.
Yeah.
Okay. For those who don't know, James Mesh has voluntarily just not seen well for the last, I don't know how many years. He's been like, I need glasses. It
goes back to high school.
Yeah. Like, do you need glasses? Wait, why can't you read that? Oh, well, I need glasses. Well, why don't you have them? I don't know. Just don't have them. So what prompted you to correct your vision after all these years of just dealing with it?
I just kind of dealt with it, but also I've told this story before. I don't know if I've told it on air, but I used to work at a certain establishment that is that also has it's a Pro Football Hall of Famer's name on the building.
Yeah. He owns the place, right?
Yeah, I used to work there, and the main reason was because I wanted to meet Drew Brees, but never got to do that. So it was an utter failure. But what was a success was one time we were cleaning the foam pits, and we ended up finding these sunglasses. And it was like, oh, cool, these are Ray-Bans, sick. And then I put them on just to like be funny, and I was like, wait, I could see better. So for the especially for the longest time, but that was like college time for me. I've been needing glasses since like sophomore, junior year of high school.
So you accidentally found a pair of prescription sunglasses that actually reminded you that you probably weren't seeing the world in its intended clarity.
Yes, but also I could just wear them because they improved my vision.
That's incredible.
So I was like, this is the craziest thing ever, because like I don't know exactly what my prescription was, but it's close enough that it really helped my vision, even though they were shaded. They weren't just regular glasses. I ended up losing them, this last year, which was really unfortunate.
Wow.
And like
So also wait, let me add this in there. You could only see well when it was sunny in daytime, and you could be wearing sunglasses. If it was nighttime, it was like I'm just gonna be stuck.
It was a little sketch. I would still wear it like driving on the road at night. I'd be like, "Ooh, this is a little tough." I could see better, but it's also darker.
Yeah, that's hilarious, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was quite the adventure. I never really had much of a problem driving because like, okay, if I'm trying to go to a certain place, I just use the GPS. I don't have to look at the sign. I don't have to look at it and say, you're going to take this exit at 0.5.
But it's just in general like more convenient when you can read things that are far away. I mean, I'm just like that. I think most of us feel that way, but clearly it wasn't a priority for you. Okay, continue.
I felt like I could survive, and I definitely challenged myself a little too much on things. But I just decided, like, I had taken the days off before going to Minneapolis. I was like, you know what? I have like a whole extra
Bettering
day.
yourself. That's good.
Yeah, like I have a whole extra day before I travel up to the north, and I was like, well, let's see if I can get in an eye appointment, especially go to a place that will actually accept our insurance. Found a place, got it done, and they were like, well, we have to order it. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'll get it whenever I come back. And then I get a notification saying like, hey, it came in 2 days later. And I was like, oh, well, I'm in Minnesota. I'd like to have them now, but whatever. But no, I'm wearing them now. It's got I need the adjustment a little bit just because like, I feel like I'm putting too much pressure on the top of the nose. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I actually didn't have as bad a vision as I thought. They said I had 20/30 and the 30 was on the left eye, which I knew was always worse, but I was like, oh, actually it's a lot better than I thought.
So this was an experience for me. I don't know if you shared this. Did it really blow your mind how trees have individual leaves that you can see when you have clear vision? Because the first time I ever put contacts in at this, now I didn't put it off quite as long as you did. I was probably in 9th grade. I put contacts in, left the doctor's office, and went, oh, trees, like those leaves, I can see like the definition, like where one leaf starts and another. Trees were always just green blurs to me before that. Again, my vision wasn't terrible. It just, it wasn't as sharp as it could be.
Well, let's just use this as an example because I'm looking straight ahead. I'm looking at the little towel that we have on the wall back there. It says, let's go Pels NOLA. If I take off the glasses, I can't see the let's go part. I can barely see that it says Pels, but I can't see that it says let's go.
Those are some pretty big letters, man. You should have got glasses probably.
So when I put them on, I'm like, but also glass.
Yeah.
The glass could be a little.
You know what? Let's
clear.
not harp on what was. Let's be excited that you can see now.
But no, it's nice. Like, I mean, I never had a problem going up close to things. I'm like, I really liked looking at the details. So like you bringing up the trees and seeing the definition on the leaves. I used to do like a lot of close-ups, kind of like looking at seeing just how nature is.
Well,
it's so unique. But like, yeah, no, from afar, it's like, yeah, it's just like an overall figure.
Well, high definition 4K, it's been around for a long time. I'm glad that your vision and your eyesight is now catching up to the technology, James. That is good. I'm glad we got that. You know what? We'll save it. We'll talk LeBron and the Sixers later on. For now, though, I want to take a break because Kevin Foote is waiting for us on the other side. Kevin's a guy who also, I imagine, has some ways of viewing the world that are a little bit different than the rest of us, right? We know that to be true. We'll talk to him about it after the break. It's the LohDown.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros improved to 52-55 by taking 2 out of 3 from the Chicago White Sox on the road. That puts them 2 games behind the division-leading Texas Rangers in the AL West. Next up is another road series, this time against the Los Angeles Angels, and it begins tonight. First pitch from Angel Stadium is scheduled for 8:38, and the action can be heard on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. LSU commit and left-handed pitcher Logan Schmidt was selected by the Cleveland Guardians in the second round of this most recent MLB draft, but decided to not sign with the franchise. Kobe Buffkin is signing a training camp deal with the New Orleans Pelicans and will be one of the players competing for the final roster spot. Buffkin's a former first-round pick back in 2023 and played for New Orleans during the Vegas Summer League. Back on Friday, LeBron James finally made a decision and elected to sign a 2-year deal with the Philadelphia 76ers to return to the Eastern Conference. James will be paid $8 million over the 2-year deal. The expected Philadelphia starting lineup now features Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, and Joel Embiid. And Jackson Koiven won the 3M Open at 21 years old, becoming the youngest American golfer to win a PGA Tour event by multiple shots in 94 years. I'm James Mesh, and this has been your 2-minute drill on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana sports station, your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Do you need more of the fellas here on Southwest Louisiana's sports station? Of course you do. So go make sure and subscribe to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles YouTube channel at ESPN_SWLA. Don't forget to turn that bell on so you get notifications for new episodes of Fort Tire Change Podcast, where Dawson Iserloh talks all things NASCAR, or Cleats and Sneaks with James Mesh. Get yourself more of Southwest Louisiana's sports station at ESPN_SWLA on YouTube.
Looking for a spotless workplace? Variety Janitorial Services is your go-to. For office cleaning to stripping and floor waxing and carpet cleaning, your commercial space will look its best. Their reputation for perfection has grown throughout the entire Acadiana community. They deliver top-notch service with a commitment to excellence. Daily, weekly, or deep cleaning, trust the experts. Visit varietyjan.com today or call 337-298-8704 for a free quote. Variety Janitorial Services. We clean, you shine.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce exhibit number 1.
MeTV is America's #1 classic television network.
There can only be one number 1, me.
MeTV features over 60 of the greatest classic TV series each week.
Go with the winner.
Enjoy dramas, comedies, westerns, sci-fi, and more.
You just watch me.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices.
To learn more, visit govote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's Office.
We are the NFHS. That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations. But really, what we stand for, together with the LHSAA, are the 110,000 high school sports students in Louisiana. And so we stand. We stand for the runners, soccer, and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, administrators, and officials. We stand for the swimmers, football players, and wrestlers. We stand for the golfers, softball, and volleyball players. We stand as the national leader and advocate for high school athletics and all who participate in them and make them possible. Because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete together. To learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit nfhs.org.
Do yourself a favor and download the free ESPN Southwest Louisiana mobile app, powered by Moss Motors BMW for your Android or Apple devices. Download the app by searching ESPN 103.7 Lafayette or ESPN 104.1 Lake Charles. It's just that easy to take Southwest Louisiana's sports station with you wherever you go.
The LohDown rolls on here on a Monday. We are back inside the Beal and Hebert studios in Upper Lafayette. Kevin Foote was here this morning. You may have heard him on Footnotes from 9 to 11, but he was also here last week. And I didn't really get to talk to Kevin much at all on the air or otherwise. So, Kevin, what's going on?
Yeah, it has been a while.
since we've communicated, it seems like. No question.
I actually watched a lot more Astros over the weekend than I thought I would, or throughout last week. Timing wise, it ended up working out. So, enjoyed that. They, after a disastrous start to the second half, right, with the sweep to Baltimore, in which they probably should have won 2 of the 3. A nice run, 5-1 since then. Miami and Chicago went well. The starting pitching in the Miami series specifically probably gets you the most excited. What do you make of where this team is at now that, by the way, it sounds like they're not going to be selling. We'll talk a little more about that in just a minute. But what do you make of this recent run of success?
Well, I liked it. And really, like you said, I know it's never fun when you lose, but really they played decent baseball games. It's just all of a sudden King decided to totally implode. Like he didn't get anybody out again yesterday. So, he had actually been pretty consistent all year long. And if he just pitches like he did most of the year, they'd have won 2 or 3 of those 4 games in that 4-game losing streak, going back to the Sunday before the All-Star game. So they didn't really play poorly. They just, they didn't play great. Sometimes you don't hit, but or you don't necessarily pitch, but they were in position. They had the lead in the 8th inning of 2 of those 3 of those 4 games, and the other one they had the bases loaded with no outs and Altuve up, in the bottom of the 10th. So if they pinch hit right there, they win that game. So they didn't really do that poorly in those games. I was encouraged. I don't know, to me, Blanco, I know his results haven't been good, but he still looks like a major league starting pitcher to me. Yeah, he's given up too many homers, no question. But it's not it seems like he has pretty good command. He just needs to get a little better command and figure out a way to not give up so many home runs. But other than a bunch of home runs, it's not like he's giving up a bunch of hits, and it's not like he's walking a bunch of batters. So I'm not discouraged by his 2 starts, even though I know his ERA doesn't look good. I think Abreu had some very encouraging outings in this past week. They had at least 2 starts where he looked like himself again. We're seeing a lot more of that lately. And Hunter Brown had he looked like an ace pitcher for the first time. So there was definitely some good signs.
Kevin, I know you've been as baffled as I have. You've probably been more baffled than I have because you've said some things about his pitching repertoire that weren't super complimentary. But the Astros signed this guy, Peter Lambert, they signed him to a minor league contract. They assigned him to AAA Sugarland to start. He got released and re-signed on a new deal. And yet, after a really good first couple months of the season, you probably sit there and we both, once we get to the midpoint of the season, is he going to keep it up? In 4 starts in July, Peter Lambert has a 1.52 ERA in 23 2/3 innings pitched. He hasn't given up more than 2 runs in a start. He's got a whip under 1 and opposing batting average under 200 and struck out 26 batters in the month of July. What is going on with this guy?
I don't have any idea. Again, I watch him pitch, and I still don't see how he's so effective, but he is. But what recent history tells me, even though, the biggest fan part of me says don't do this, but what recent history says is you play out this season, you hope you can win the division and go as far as you can go, and then you trade him in the offseason. So when you have guys that aren't supposed to be really, really good pitchers, you got to sell high. They should have sold high on Arrighetti, and they didn't. They probably should have sold high on Ronaldo Blanco, and they didn't. When guys come out of nowhere and have these bail out the team seasons, the best thing to do probably is to sell right there because they're probably only going to go down or get hurt, and you're not going to get anything out of it. But back to your original question, I don't know. I'm just hoping that he can ride it out through the rest of the season because, again, I like his mental makeup. That's really what he's done best, and that's the only noticeable thing. But I don't see anything all that spectacular about any of his pitches why no one can seem to hit him, but I'll take it.
It is. It's been fun to watch. The ERA for the season is down to 3.03, which it's one of those magic numbers where it sounds like he's having a really good season right now, but if 3.03 goes to 2.97, it sounds like he's having an unbelievable season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's one of those big thresholds.
Yeah, no, I agree. But he's been a consistent starter. That's all I ask for. Some of that ERA stuff, some of it's luck, and you hit a double play ground ball, and if it finds a hole, it's 2 RBIs, and if it doesn't, it's a double play, and everybody thinks you're great. So some of that stuff's a little bit on the one way or the other thing, but no question, he has been a consistent starter, and more than anybody, the only one. So I totally appreciate what he's done.
Kevin Foote is our guest, host of Footnotes. We're talking Astros right now. Okay, so there's some reports out there. It sounds like Boston was really trying to get Jeremy Pena, and the Astros pretty much told them they're not selling, they're buying. They want to win now. It is, Jim Crane, it is his philosophy, so it's kind of like the whole Saints, don't draft quarterbacks thing until they did. Like, what do you make of the idea that this team is maybe, and I don't want to say delusional because they're 2 games out of the division lead, but the idea that they're maybe willing to be more aggressive than complacent here at this deadline?
I don't buy either one. I just don't. I've been saying this for weeks now. If you trade for, either one of the outfielders or both from the Rockies, how is that being aggressive? You're trading for a guy who hit 204 last year and had no stock. So my point is, if they go out and trade for Skubal, which is not going to happen, but if they did that, that's a whole different deal. But just to go from having a AAA outfielder to a major league outfielder, just a middle of the road major league outfielder, it's not going to cost you that much. It's not even really selling. Like the beauty of being so bad, the beauty of having the worst outfield in Major League Baseball is you don't even have to there's no risk involved trading a guy who's never going to be a starter for you or 2 of those to get one middle-of-the-road major league starter. So I don't think there's being overly aggressive, but I also don't think it's giving up either. So I think everyone acts like it's one or the other. Just go out and trade a couple marginal players and get you a major league player, not a great one, just a major league player. And that's all you need to win the division if everyone stays healthy and plays to their potential, which is not a guarantee. Obviously, people can get hurt and guys can go into prolonged slumps. But if everyone just does about what they're doing right now and you stay healthy and you go get a number 4 or 5 starter, which shouldn't cost you that much, and get a average major league outfielder, you can win the division doing that. And you haven't given up hardly anything.
Well, do you think that's what Crane mean, or whoever the report? Do you think that's what they mean when they say buying?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go out and get like an elite player. They don't. Why would you want them to get an elite player right now? See, I just think there's too many people. They're not looking at the middle. They're thinking either you go out and you're going for it, or the other, or you implode and build for the future. The other problem is, I love Jeremy Pena, but I don't totally buy this idea that Jeremy Pena is going to set your if you trade Jeremy Pena, you're going to get so much in return, you're going to set your franchise up for the next half a decade. They didn't get that out of Iffy. I mean, what? Like, why all of a sudden is Jeremy Pena this guy? Look, when was the last time the Astros, they didn't get that out of Rand, they didn't give anything up for Randy Johnson going back. Like, this idea that you're going to trade Jeremy Pena and set your franchise up for years to come, I don't get that.
I am with you on that note. He is having a great stretch right now. So, yeah, maybe the stock's a little bit higher than it would have been, but I am mostly with you on that. Okay, let's go to the Saints for just a little bit, Kevin. So you have very unique feelings, and I know we've touched on this a little bit. You have very unique feelings about like legacies and Hall of Fame and stuff like that. So what is the feeling like in your mind with the idea that Drew Brees is going into the Hall of Fame next week?
Oh, again, I totally appreciate everything that he's done for the Saints, and what a move. I'll always have the memory of where I was when I found out that he was and all of that, and I can watch highlights and of whatever stretch or great touchdown or whatever, and love it. But again, it's just part of it for me. I've already made a statement. I will never wear a Drew Brees jersey, not because of anybody, not because of anything Drew Brees did, and I think any less of Drew Brees. I just would want no one to ever think that I'm one of these fans that only likes the Saints when they're good, because that's not a fan. And so I appreciate everything that Drew Brees has ever done. When he speaks, and if he gives a speech like I'm sure he's going to give, I'm gonna cry, and it's going to be a great moment, and then it's going to be time to get ready for the next season.
Crying, real tears, they will happen. Is that a guarantee?
Oh, I still remember when Elway went in, and Michelle and I were watching it, and she was still mad at me because we didn't go to it. But we were sitting there in bed watching the game, and she was crying, and that's just part of being a fan.
Fair enough. I've been having a couple conversations about where this team is at right now. This was brought up to me, so I'll see how you feel about it. If the Saints finish the year somewhere between 7 and 9 wins and miss the playoffs, but the offense is statistically top 10 and Shuck looks like he's the real deal, and maybe they lose some games because of the defense or it's close games go against them or whatever, versus if the Saints were to win 10 or 11 games because they had a pretty dominant year defensively, but the offense still kind of looks stuck in the mud and Shuck is like, well, maybe he's not the guy. Which season do you prefer, with the idea of what it means for the future?
What a question. I don't. I would still think. I would still choose the most wins and just hope that you would build on that offense a year later. It would be hard for me to believe that would happen. But if you're just giving me those scenarios, I'll still take the most wins and just try to improve the offense somehow in the offseason.
Okay, I've got another one for you. Who do you right now? This question, I'm laughing at myself for asking you this question. But anyway, you have to pick a starting quarterback. It's week 7, and the Saints are sitting at 5-1. Things are going great, but Tyler Shuck's got a concussion, okay? Zach Wilson or Spencer Rattler, which quarterback would you like to see get the football right now, knowing what you know now?
Well, right now we don't know a whole lot. We know that they're both going to camp. We have no idea what progress they're going to make. Right now I would say Spencer Rattler, but that is very iffy. Like, I have no idea what Zach Wilson's going to look like. And, it's funny that you say that because it hit me over the weekend. I thought I had a fleeting thought there. Like, I haven't even thought about it until once this weekend that Zach Wilson is – I mean, I remember when it happened, but it's like it hasn't even entered my mind that, like, in preseason games we're going to be trying to decide who should be the backup quarterback between Spencer and Zach. That never entered my mind one time until briefly this weekend. But it's going to be interesting. But right now, I would say Spencer just because I've seen him in this offense, and I think he'll have more weapons, and so I think he'll be okay. But I have no idea. Zach may totally outplay him in August, and then I would change my mind at that point.
You haven't heard about Zach Wilson because he's been locked in, getting ready to roll. He's been studying the tape. He's been grinding. He's been working out every day. That's why you haven't heard about him.
Look, I have no problem. I have nothing against Zach Wilson. If he wants to come in and be good, I just hope he plays in the fourth quarter of a few blowout wins, and we never see him other than that.
Look, if Saints fans, and I do this regularly, if you just need a pick-me-up, if it's like it's the dog days of summer, you go outside, it's 100 degrees, like get in the mail, you're drenched in sweat when you get back, and you're just like, man, what a bummer. Just throw on BYU highlights from 2020 with Zach Wilson spinning the football, and you're going to come right back.
I know you weren't here, but when I had Luke on Friday, he is basically bracing himself for the defense taking this huge step back this year. And I don't even remotely – I didn't remotely think last year the Saints had a top 10 defense, even though statistically they were ninth. But I still think that this defense is not going to take this huge step back that a lot of people think. But
yeah.
We'll see.
I had the thought where, like, I was worried because I was thinking about the DeMario factor, and I know, like, the off-the-field stuff, but then I was also sitting there going, like, do we really think this, like, 36-year-old linebacker was the glue that was holding everything together defensively? Not sure about that.
No, I don't think
So
so.
I'm a little hopeful there as well, as you are, although I still don't think there's an NFL corner on this roster. Not a confirmed one yet. Maybe we got some maybes. I don't know if we have a confirmed one yet. Hopefully that changes. All right, Kevin, enjoy the week. Let's have a good week. How about that?
I'm going to try. I'll be having to stay up late the next 3 nights, but okay, I guess I can. As long as they win, I'll be okay.
Yeah, and you know what? 8:30. It's not the worst starting time. They at least gave you like those 20 minutes back, so that's nice.
That's true.
All right, that's Kevin Foote, the host of Footnotes. You, of course, can hear him weekdays 9 to 11 a.m. right here on these very same airwaves. And that is true, by the way. 8:38 is the first pitch, all 3 games of this Astros-Angels series. So instead of, sometimes they do like the 9:08 start times, the 9:10. So you at least get like a half hour on the good side. But yes, another Astros After Dark week with a West Coast road trip. All right, we'll take a time out here. We'll introduce you to the poll question of the day. We basically asked it to Kevin, so we'll give you some actual results on that and set you up for hour number 2 after this. You're listening to The LohDown.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Row coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3-gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563.
Misfits Dine and Drink, a destination restaurant in Broussard, is constantly evolving. Dine in for great food in a great atmosphere. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or brunch on Saturday or Sunday, stop in to enjoy a handmade gourmet pizza or one of their delicious pastas. Take a sip of their new and seasonal craft cocktails and mocktails. And don't forget dessert. Try the birthday cake bread pudding. Whether it's new menu items or old favorites, come to Misfits for a great food experience. It's classic Italian with a modern twist. Misfits Dine and Drink, 200 Heritage Parkway off Highway 90 in Broussard.
Imagine building your dream backyard pool without ever leaving your couch. With Duplessis Builders, you can go shop our in-ground gunite pool packages online, start to finish. Browse our pool designs, compare features, see exactly what's included, and choose the package that fits your style and budget. Once you purchase, our team takes over. From permit and excavation to gunite decking and final startup, you click, we build, you swim. Your backyard upgrade is just a few clicks away. Visit duplessisbuilders.net and buy your pool online today.
Oh, look who's here.
Everybody Loves Raymond is on MeTV.
Who told you that?
Raymond!
America's #1 classic TV network.
Nothing even comes close.
Enjoy 2 back-to-back episodes every weeknight.
We're doing it twice.
Watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, it's all about you, Raymond.
Weeknights starting at 8 on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices.
To learn more, visit GoVote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's Office.
You're listening to the 2026 LAB Award winner for Radio Young Professional of the Year, Dawson Iserloh, the host of the LohDown with D-Loh on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
The LohDown continues on here as we wrap up hour number 1. We do have a poll question of the day today. The MLB trade deadline, a week away. How should the Astros address this team going into the deadline? Starting pitching, relief pitching, getting another bat in the lineup, or maybe you think they should go all in and go all the above. That's an aggressive answer, but it's actually leading the way. 55% saying get everything. And maybe you do take like the Kevin approach. If you add a discount 4th or 5th starter and a bullpen arm that's maybe a retread. Like remember when they went out and got Craig Kimbrell last, like it was like, all right, well, it's Craig Kimbrell, but it's not prime Craig Kimbrell, obviously. And then you have, a Mickey Moniak in the outfield. So maybe there are ways to do it on the cheap, right? To go bargain shopping at the deadline. But that is leading the way. 36% of you are going starting pitching, 9% say a hitter, and no votes yet for reliever. Relief pitching, it's the least sexy thing, right? That's why it doesn't get as many votes, right? It's like getting an oil change on your car. Nobody sees it. You might be more willing to get a car wash because, then your car looks better to other people. Nobody sees what an oil change looks like, but you don't have clean oil, car's not going to run very well. You don't have a good bullpen, you're going to blow a lot of leads. And those hurt perhaps even more. So just saying. Little Colin Cowherd style analogy right there. Relief pitchers are a lot like an oil change. I think that one plays in this scenario. I like that one. All right, we'll stick with it. So anyway, there you have it. As I mentioned, really weird, man, to sit there and look at a team that's 52-55 that has had signs of like, hey, maybe this is the moment that they're breaking through, but has never sustained it yet. But then you take a peek at the American League West, and you go, how many games back are they? 2? Yeah, that's right. 2 games back of the Texas Rangers. The Rangers and Astros have a combined run differential of -72. And yet one of them leads the division, and one of them's 2 games back. They're both expected win-loss totals are at least 3 games worse than their actual records, and yet here they are. By the way, another interesting note on the Stros that I came across this morning, almost identical home and road records right now for Houston. Before yesterday, going into yesterday's game against the White Sox, which was a loss, but before that game, the Astros had a 26-27 record at home in Daikin Park, and they had a 26-27 record on the road. Now they're 1 game worse than that on the road because of the loss to Chicago yesterday. But interestingly enough, both those in mind, every team in the AL West is at least 8 games below 500 against teams who are above 500, right? So when you're playing a good team, essentially. The Astros, on the other hand, are 5 games above 500 against teams with a winning record. 27-22 is the Astros record. So for whatever reason, some of that, maybe it's that carryover from when they were on that revenge tour, right? Because everybody was booing them in every ballpark. The Astros have actually played pretty well against good baseball teams and not so great against below-average teams. Because if you do the math there, 5 games above 500 in that situation means they're 8 games below when they play teams with a losing record. Go figure. I haven't figured it out. Maybe someone will at some point. All right, we'll do this. We'll take a break. Hour number 2 begins on the other side. And we kick it off the right way with our guy, Raymond Parch III, host of RP3 and Mesh, who you hear middays. It's an ESPN Southwest Louisiana day on the show here. RP3 joins us. We'll look back at a fun week in Tampa after this. Stay tuned.
The best businesses aren't just businesses, they're neighbors. Here's a message from a proud certified South Louisiana business.
Bro Bridge Truck Stop Casino. They have the newest games around. Hot seat drawings and monthly specials like no one else. Located on the Bro Bridge Highway and on the banks of the Vermilion River. Come out today and try your luck at the Bro Bridge Truck Stop Casino.
When you support local businesses, you strengthen the communities we call home. Shop local, support local, certified South Louisiana.
Acadiana Legal Services Corporation provides free access to legal services. Their work spans across Louisiana. They're committed to helping eligible individuals navigate legal challenges from family law to public benefits. Their team delivers reliable, high-quality representation. Acadiana Legal Services provides comprehensive benefits and a supportive work environment. Join a team that makes a difference in the lives of people. Apply today at la-law.org/careers or careers@la-law.org.
Every weeknight, MeTV has your laugh therapy.
To chase away the blues or the olive drabs.
With 2 hours of MASH at 5.
This guy's ankle has tickled my funny bone.
Followed by the Andy Griffith Show at 7.
Doggone it, Otis. You're supposed to be hugging me when I'm arresting you.
But he likes you, Bart.
Weeknights on MeTV.
Watch Meet TV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices.
To learn more, visit GoVote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Carencro Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
I'm Ed Bankin. The wife of Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy was shot Sunday night in her Virginia home. Police have charged their 27-year-old son Elijah. Bieniemy is in stable condition and remains hospitalized. Eric Bieniemy has left Chiefs camp, and Coach Andy Reid says there is no timetable for Bieniemy's return. North Carolina football general manager Michael Lombardi has been placed on administrative leave for the university. No details were given by the school, but the decision stemmed from a human resources complaint filed by a former UNC employee. Colts quarterback Daniel Jones said on the Pat McAfee show he's been cleared for practice at training camp. Jones is coming off an Achilles injury last September. By tomorrow, all 32 teams will be in camp, and Tampa quarterback Baker Mayfield is looking for a new deal, and ESPN's Dan Graziano talked about the progress in talks.
There's a big gap between the number he was asking for and the number they were willing to pay, but, you know, these things can get done as deadlines get closer, and if that's a real deadline, then I'm sure the Buccaneers are paying attention to it.
The Bucs report to camp tomorrow. Baseball this afternoon, top of the second. Rangers and Mariners tied at 1. Texas leads Seattle by a game and a half in the AL West.
If you run a small business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll taxes filed automatically. Offer health insurance, 401k, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Dawson Iserloh prides himself on taking a deep dive to uncover all the relevant data about the sports and sports teams he loves. And now he's sharing all those facts inside his big brain with all of you. Here is the LohDown with D-Loh on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It is the LohDown. It is hour number 2 of 2 on a Monday inside the Beal and Hebert studios in Upper Lafayette for the first time in quite a while, given the last couple weeks and everything we've had going on. We are catching up on stuff. We are recapping things that went down. We had Kevin Foote on. He's, of course, letting you know he'll never wear a Drew Brees jersey despite, the greatest player in the history of the franchise going into the Hall of Fame next week. It's okay. We'll forgive him for that, I suppose. And we're starting hour number 2 off strong as well because we've got our guy RP3. We spent the entire week together in Tampa covering SEC Media Days, but we never appeared on each other's shows. So here we are, and how are you, sir?
I am relaxed.
Yeah?
Ready to go. I mean, I was going to see if you wanted to talk about The Odyssey, which I watched over the weekend, and it was...
Haven't seen it yet, so no. I don't want to talk about it yet.
It was remarkable, and I've thought about it in the 2 days since. So that tells you what type of film experience that is. Can we circle back to this Kevin Foote? Is it because Kevin is over the age of 50 and he doesn't rock jerseys? Or
No, his reasoning officially was that he does not want there to be any possibility for anyone to believe that he's only a fan when the team is good. And so since Drew Brees, I guess, represents a large portion of the franchise's success, he thinks people might get that impression, which is a diabolically insane thing to think that people would assume as a result of.
There we go.
But that's his logic.
There we go. So we don't want to acknowledge that you may be a fan of one of the most important players in franchise history.
Correct. That seems to be what he's going with.
No, that's not how I roll. And I feel like that's crazy. But once again, Kevin is built differently than you and I because as I explain to him all the time, he gets fired up what national people say. He gets fired up what I go, why do you care? Like, if you love your team, you love your team. If you love players on your team, then represent that. I mean, who cares? If someone looks at you and says, oh, well, that guy must be a bandwagon. Is there like some exclusive club that may kick him out of being in the Saints history club if he rocks a Drew Brees jersey? It's just silly.
Could be an addendum. Could be addendum in the rules.
Hey, who cares? Who cares?
SEC Media Days. What do you come away with? Like, what was the big thing as you got to, digest it across an 11-hour journey and then another day after that? Did the Odyssey make you think about what Vanderbilt's journey through the conference is going to be like this season or something like that?
No, it made us think about what our journey was to get there and to come back. But we weren't manipulated by Calypso or anything like that. So a couple of different things stood out to me. The narrative, I found there to be a lot of sensitivity when it came to the SEC's place in the college football landscape.
Yeah.
And it came from people that shouldn't be saying these things. The notion of, well, you can still be the best conference even though you may not play for national championships. An SEC guy, SEC fan, and every person at Media Days used to mock other conferences for making that claim when the SEC was on its run of winning national title after national title, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they're using that as an excuse. And it's just like, really? Like just admit. I just want them to come out and say, whether it's Nick Saban or whoever it might be, come out and say, you know what? We were caught flat-footed. We were not prepared for the NIL era. We were not prepared for the NCAA transfer portal. We were not prepared for this era of not being able to stockpile blue-chip prospects behind blue-chip prospects for a couple years and keep them on our rosters, while other conferences adjusted to that quicker. The Big Ten adjusted quicker than the SEC did. And they won 3 straight national titles with 3 different teams. Like, why can't we just admit that? No one's going to say in the history of college football that the SEC's dominance in the last 20 years is untouched.
So, I've actually got a different approach on it. So hear me out on this. Let me see what you think. I think the SEC is actually better now than it was 5 years ago. And so the conversation should actually be had that the SEC was overrated when they were winning national championships. Now, I'm going to have to explain my way out of this, right? The league had 3 or 4. The league looked essentially, in my opinion, like what the Big Ten looks like right now, 5 years ago. Alabama and Georgia were competing for national championships every year.
And then you throw LSU sometimes.
LSU had 1 year, right? Auburn had a year or two here and there. But for the most part, you had 2 or 3 dominant teams that won 11 to 12 games every single year. And then you had a whole bunch of 6-7 win Vandy's and Tennessee's hanging around. The Big Ten right now has Ohio State, Michigan, and maybe Oregon. Indiana did it last year. If they sustain it, then they'll be in that conversation as well.
Kurt Cinetti's not going to have them fall off.
And so, right, you have this group of at max 4 teams. And then Michigan fell off when Indiana rose, so you can also make that statement. And then a bunch of 6-7 win Rutgers and Michigan State's hanging around. The SEC, I actually think, maybe got deeper as a result of the rules lessening, the stockpiling of 5-star talent. And now 1 or 2 teams isn't rising above the rest. So I actually think the league's better now than it was 5 years ago, and yet they're not winning titles. But I think it does go to show you, I think the league was pretty overrated during that stretch where it won 15 in a row or whatever it was.
And I also just think, and that's a very valid point by you, but also think that they just weren't prepared. Like, Saban saw it and said, I'm done. That's the reality. Like, Nick saw what was coming and said, I ain't built for that. I'm going to have to change how I coach in my 70s. Not doing that. Kirby has kept Georgia relevant, kept them as a playoff team, but they're not the most dominant team when they get on the field anymore. Right? And I don't think you're going to have a team in the SEC that way, period. Because I don't think you see that in college football, period. So I'm like, guys.
You know what bothered me?
You have a whole Media Days event that's 4 days long, longer than anybody else. You have an entire network. Can we just chill with the whining? Is that too much to ask?
Yeah, and I'm going to do that myself. I don't mean to make this complaining segment. It's not supposed to be. But Kirby being like, nobody talks about football at these things anymore. And then also making the point of why he wants to change everything about like what he needs to have fixed. Like, we're not talking about administrative and lawsuits because we want to. We're talking about it because no one knows what the future of the sport is, right? I'd love to sit there and talk linebacker depth all media day long. I would enjoy it. You would enjoy it. We're football junkies. That's not what's relevant right now, though, unfortunately, in the world of college football, right? What's relevant is like what Ross Dellinger tweets out every day. Updates on the latest lawsuit in court and where it's headed.
It's a great point. And then Kirby also got snappy with a reporter, obviously one that covers him, when he asked about the wide receiving room. So he's trying to ask about a football question. And then he got pissy and it was like, well, that gives me bulletin board material to motivate your guys. Like, okay, you're a 2-time national championship winning coach. Just shut up. Like, just coach. Just answer the question. Like, it's media days, Kat. It literally says it on all the material. SEC Media Days, which means it's your job to answer questions. You don't have to answer these questions the rest of the time. It was a legitimate question. And then, you doubt my guys. Like, shut up, man. Like, you're a bazillionaire who's got 2 national championships as a head coach on the wall, multiple national championships as an assistant coach. You run one of the best programs in the country. Oh, and by the way, it's not like he asked you about another player of yours getting arrested for terrible driving in Athens. Like, just chill out. Like, Kirby's on my nerve. He's on my nerve.
All right, I said I didn't want to make this complaining segment,
Sorry.
so let's turn it positive. What was the best thing you heard, saw, did? Best thing of the week?
Do you want me to answer this as what I saw from players and coaches and then what we did?
Yeah, let's give 2 separate.
All right. I really love what I heard on Wednesday from John Summerall and Pete Golding. Like, for different reasons. John has kind of a dynamic personality, which I think Florida has been missing. No offense to Billy Napier. We love Billy. Billy's not a big personality guy, right? He's got an edge to him, John does, and a personality that I think is going to work really well. I also think he understands this new era. And I love how he's cracking jokes. I saw him. I didn't even share this with anybody. I was working on something down in the lobby in the hotel, and I found a little quiet space by the elevators by that restaurant that goes out to the pier. Mm-hmm. And he's walking, and this kid comes up and wants him to sign a Florida Gators helmet, and he takes the time and signs it and talks to him for like 3 minutes. There's no cameras around. He didn't even notice me. I was like part of the furniture.
And that might not sound like a lot, but for those who haven't experienced it, like, grabbing somebody aside during this event, they're constantly being shuffled through.
Constantly.
PR people saying, no, we can't stop. So that is a little unique.
He has an enthusiasm and an energy and a little bit of a chip on the shoulder that I think is going to do really well. So I liked John, and I loved what I heard from Pete. We want to, here in the state, bag on Pete that he's a bum, that he's a doofus, that, you went from a guy that may drink mint juleps and read the Odyssey to a guy that's, doing keg stands and reading, fart jokes. Like, I get it. They're wildly different personalities. But I loved what I heard out of Pete. And, like, he's very just plain-spoken, blue-collar kind of guy. And how he deflated the whole thing with Lane and that they're still friends, I think that made a huge difference. And how now look, it's going to be insane week 3, but I loved how Pete handled that because he could have stirred the pot. He could have made it worse. He could have rose the temperature. Instead, he decided to be an adult about it and reduced it down, right? Like, and he did the right thing, which I came away immensely impressed by. So that's the thing that I saw from my coaches. And of course, the LSU players were great with us. We were able to interview all 3 of them. Trey Dez Green could not stop smiling when I asked him about this offense. Like, he looked like the freaking Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. And that makes me go, uh-oh. Like, they got something, like, they've been working on something special for Trey Dez to utilize him in this offense. Whit Weeks was, of course, humble and great. And so that was the big highlight for that from what we did, covering. For us, I got to squeeze in minor league baseball.
Yep, always a priority.
Always a priority for your boy. Got the mini bat, added it to the collection. Went over and saw the Clearwater Threshers.
But why did they release a limited edition ballpark food item the day after we left?
I have
why
questions.
Did they do that, right?
I don't know why they did that to hate us.
They apparently released, for those who didn't see it, a bacon wrapped hot dog situation with all the toppings and fixings on it.
Looks absolutely phenomenal.
And they legitimately unveiled it the day after we were no longer in Tampa.
I was a little upset. I was a little upset by that. So that was cool. Getting baseball anytime I can consume that. You know I'm a big baseball guy. For me, going to hanging out with other media people, getting to know them a little bit. You and I and BP, I thought we did stellar work. And shout out to our guy BP. All seriousness, I know we like to joke a lot. He was a rock star for us in Tampa. But going to the last night, the media event at Raymond James Stadium, and getting BP to take a picture with the mascot, the Bucs mascot, and then sending it to Kevin, and Kevin's just like, no. He's just so grumpy about it all. We got to made a hat for the daughter. She loved She loved the hat, by the way. That was amazing. But you guys going and us exploring Raymond James Stadium, and
we were not reprimanded for that. Despite the fact that we did find out after the fact that we weren't allowed to.
I was bummed because I was like, where did they – I turned around, I go, where is Dawson and Blake at? Like, where did they go? And then Blake's all sweaty like he's been running a marathon. I was like, dude, are you okay? And he's like, I need a water. And then, of course, that was great. But a little sidebar away from Tampa, which I thought was lovely. I'd never been. It was a lot nicer than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more like a Jacksonville, St. Peter's, a Jacksonville, Fort Lauderdale situation, when it's not. It's a lot nicer than I thought. But getting to see two of the big venues in college football on the trip down and on the way back. Mm-hmm. You, of course, went to Florida State. You were gracious enough. We stopped there for dinner. You took us to one of the places that you would go to when you were a student there. It was amazing. Great pizza. Momo's.
That is right.
Yes. And then we got to go. We didn't go inside Doak Campbell because it's under a renovation, so they had all the gates locked, unfortunately. But we got to walk around, see the Bobby Bowden statue and everything like that. And then on the way back, we stopped off in Gainesville, and their gates were open.
Wide open.
Wide open.
Interesting decision.
They had students in there running like stadium stairs, by the way.
Yes.
So that must be an all thing. And to get to see the swamp up close and to see all the Heisman Trophy winner statues and everything, that was really cool. We also ate there at a place called The Swamp.
Yeah.
Which was nice. So get to see some sights and sounds. Originally, of course, we talked about it on the air, but big shout out to you for saving our lives,
yes,
on the way down. And we got to see a side of Florida that I don't think I would want to see again, that highway between Tallahassee and Tampa.
Yeah, which was not supposed to be the route. Took I-75 back, probably would do that.
I-75 was a lot easier on the way back. That's how of course, we went through Gainesville. But all in all, a great trip. Great to be home. But, of course, we got another trip coming up. We're going to make that announcement on tomorrow's airwaves. You're going to hear the promo for it. You're going to hear the live reads about it. And, of course, we'll talk about it on RP3 and Mesh, and our guy D-Loh will talk about it because we're excited about that too.
I'll preface it. I'll tease, right? I think you'll agree with this. I don't know if it's the biggest event we've ever done. I think it might be the coolest individual thing we've done since I've been on board the station.
Even more so than Radio Row for the Super Bowl.
It's going to be right up there with it.
It's going to be right up there with it. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I'm excited. We're going to make that announcement tomorrow. And, of course, on social media.
Okay, RP3's a guest. I got one more thing for you here.
All right.
Baseball. I wanted to fit baseball in. What are you paying attention, and do you care at all about this latest 30 for 30 podcast series thing about Ohtani?
You know me, I'm always reserved with these type of things, right? Where I need to do a deep dive on it on my own.
Right.
Because I'm naturally skeptical, so I don't trust anything, because I never want to be the type of person that gets I was always taught, don't worry about being first, worry about being right when it comes to reporting and when it comes to giving a take on something. And that's something that I've instilled with you and the rest of our team here, right? We're not knee-jerk reaction people. That said, from the clips that I've seen, and I haven't listened to the whole podcast yet, it's pretty damning. If this is...
And it's like if Ohtani was fully innocent in this, we wouldn't still be hearing about it, right? You know
That's
what I mean?
correct.
Like, what are we? I know Pablo Torre, he's the new guy, right? He uncovers all this stuff.
He is your investigative journalist that everyone's afraid of. Yes.
It's just like, and I did listen, and it did sound like not him on this recording, but it's just, man, are we ever, and I do wonder too, are we ever going to find this out? Or is this going to be one of those wink, wink, like, well, we know what kind of went down, but he never got in trouble for it. Like, is it going to be one of those things?
It's going to be one of those things. It's going to be like, think of it with Tom Brady and the multiple gates, right? Spygate and Deflategate, right. So,
but I would at least differ. This is like one of, well, I guess it's not the same thing as like the gambling on your own games or things like that, but this is way bigger in scale, I think, than any of the stuff that we've had in like some of those individualized scandals.
Correct. Look, when it all went down, we thought his interpreter was going to be the fall guy.
And he was. I mean, he still is.
And he still is.
And he may have done it. I just don't.
I have a hard time believing that his interpreter did all this without Shohei's knowledge of anything. Like, I have a real hard time wrapping my brain around that and believing that and buying it 100%. Could have been like Shohei was like, maybe something's going on, but I don't think it's a big deal, even though I don't approve, but this is my guy kind of thing. So I'm going to turn a blind eye, and maybe he's spending a lot of money through multiple accounts, and that's okay, and I'm going to take care of him. I don't know. I don't know, but somebody's not being honest.
Is it comparable to all the Jordan rumors about when Jordan was off and maybe gambling and things like that? And then you go, his star was just too big to dim. Like, people just weren't going to let it ruin it.
I'm old enough to remember, to which your point, the big thing was obviously Michael's father was killed, was murdered. Yeah. And that was a big reason why he decided to go back to baseball, because that was the first sport that he fell in love with, and so forth and so forth. But a lot of media people at that time told you there was a serious gambling addiction problem with MJ.
And that he was like maybe unofficially suspended from the league and kind of told to go play baseball for a little bit.
Correct. So I don't know if I completely buy that. I do think he had a gambling problem. I think he's even told you it was documented in The Last Dance. He was sitting there betting with event staff workers and, quarters.
The shrug.
Right. So the great shrug meme. But, but once again, baseball's got bigger things on its plate, in particular a labor stoppage that looks like it's coming next year, that I don't even think, does Rob Manfred even care? Ohtani's the biggest star they have, period. And you can talk, no. He is the biggest star on the face of the earth. He's the biggest baseball player.
He's the most famous person in Japan.
He's the biggest baseball player on the face of the planet. So is Rob Manfred really going to want to see that guy gone away for a little while? No. Because that guy makes the entire league a lot of money.
It is interesting. I appreciate you for doing this, by the way. We'll catch up again soon. I think actually we'll have a little Wednesday. We'll figure something out. James out. We got a whole deal. So we'll be back.
Yeah, we will. Thank you, buddy.
All right. That's RP3. We'll take a break. We've got plenty more coming up. You are listening to the LohDown on a Monday. Hang out with us. We'll be back.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
It's time to get ready for one of South Louisiana's favorite summer traditions. The 17th annual STM Fishing Rodeo is July 31st to August 1st at Quintana Landing at Cypremore Point. Whether you're chasing the winning catch or just looking for a great weekend on the water, enjoy great fishing, exciting prizes, delicious food, and a fun atmosphere, all while supporting St. Thomas More Catholic High School. Register today at stmcougars.net/fishing.
Hello, everyone. This is Jeff Palermo. Join us on Tuesday nights for Tiger Rag Radio. Myself, Todd Horn, and Glenn Gilbo give you the latest happenings in Tiger Town and across the SEC. We talk to coaches, analysts, and those in the know when it comes to the Tigers and the Southeastern Conference. We cover all the sports: football, baseball, basketball, softball, and gymnastics. That's Tuesday nights right here on ESPN 103.7 in Lafayette and 104.1 in Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3 gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler, or even single serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab, or 337-519-3563.
Need peace of mind with your estate planning? Turn to Beal & Aber, your trusted hometown lawyers. At Beal & Aber, we make estate planning simple and stress-free, ensuring your legacy is secure and your future is in the right hands. Don't wait. Schedule your consultation today at BealAbear.com. That's BealAbear.com. Safeguarding your tomorrow today.
You thinking trailers? Think Tibbs. Whether you tug it, tow it, or transport it, Tibbs Trailers is your headquarters for enclosed, flatbed, and hydraulic trailers. You won't find a better selection or a better price than right here. We've got the experts to repair or customize your trailer so it'll be ready for whatever you pull it through. Why would you go anywhere else when you can go to Tibbs Trailers? Now we're talking trailers.
Between Scott and Doosan.
MeTV is America's #1 classic entertainment television network. And here's one of the reasons everybody loves MeTV.
Oh, it's a classic.
The great comedy lineup on weeknights.
This will be fun. Come on.
With MASH.
Loaded with snappy comebacks.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I was just funning with Barney.
And Everybody Loves Raymond.
Now we got a show.
Watch Meet TV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
Hi, I'm Nancy Landry. No matter what part of our great state you call home, Louisiana's elections are an important part of who we are. In 2026, closed party primaries will change how some of those elections happen, so you'll want to know what to do. Keeping your registration current ensures you'll get the right party-based ballot. Remember, this change only applies to certain offices.
To learn more, visit GoVote.com or download the GoVote app.
Paid for by the Louisiana Secretary of State's office.
Helping you get through your workday. This is ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
All right, a little NBA discussion on a Monday. Didn't necessarily expect to have this, but whatever. We hadn't really gotten a chance to talk about LeBron. And I said before, I am not like the biggest on NBA offseason storylines, and, you know, especially with how bad the Pels are right now and their miserable offseason where they haven't done anything. Sometimes tough for me to get locked into on it. But there was one storyline all offseason long that I did care about, and that's where LeBron was going to end up. And it's not, you know, I've gone back and forth on being like a LeBron fan and then kind of being like annoyed with him and like, kind of over the LeBron stuff, and then back to just appreciating how great he is. So I've had different phases of it, right? But I do think this is one of those players, similar to the way I think probably soccer fans can appreciate, whether they love him or not, Lionel Messi. Like, you're watching history when you watch him play. Whether he's your guy or not, if you don't think he's the best of all time, you still have to admit that he's right up there in the conversation, right? And so that's how it is with LeBron. If you think he's the best or you think Jordan's the best, whatever, you probably don't have him much farther down than 2 on the list of all-timers. And he's playing while we're all alive and watching it, right? So I think that matters just as a fan of sports, as a fan of greatness. So I was fascinated. I was like, man, what is he going to do as this kind of swan song thing? The LA decision to me, I was never a fan of that version of his career arc, I guess, in Los Angeles, just because if LeBron's goal was to be, and I don't know what he wanted to get out of it, right? We're talking about a person who is one of, if not the most successful players in the history of modern day team sports, not just basketball. But I did think going to Los Angeles was always going to make it a little cloudier because the Bulls are Jordan, right? The Lakers, I think Kobe's still the first name you think about if you think about the modern day Lakers, and if it's Wilt or if it's someone else in the past, and if it's, you know, Magic and all these other things, well, then that's also up for debate. But it's it's like kind of like some of these all-time baseball players. If Mike Trout went to the Yankees and he was just another great Yankee, would it mean the same as like being the best player in the history of the Angels franchise by a mile? Now, you know, I'm sure Mike Trout would have liked to seen a playoff game in his career or two. which he has one still in this at this point, one playoff series to his name. So maybe that's not the best analogy. But anyway, that's why I thought it was going to be back to Cleveland. Like going into this whole dramatic, this drawn out process, which, another one of the things that kind of annoys me about LeBron, but whatever. He likes to drag things out. I thought it makes us, if you were writing a movie script, right, about this whole career, the way it starts, growing up in Akron, rise to stardom, going to Miami after being drafted by the Cavs, and then going back and winning the title, and then going back out, going to LA. If you were writing the script that tied up the loose ends, that kind of got all the characters into their rightful place, that made you feel warm and fuzzy at the end, it would have ended in Cleveland. And then the second best, it was like, you know what? And maybe if he just has this really fun, like old school throwback season with Golden State, and he's playing with Curry and Draymond, and it's all these like kind of, man, what if these guys would have teamed up in their prime? Although probably happy they didn't, right? We got to go watch them go at each other, and then Durant joined and all that stuff. So there was that thought process too. And I just felt like those were the two answers. The place I never actually even gave any thought to is Philadelphia. Thought to myself, well, doesn't have the connection that he does with Cleveland there. Doesn't have the star power and like the relationship of a place like Golden State with Steph Curry. He's already scratched the itch to be in the big time in the Los Angeles big time city lights and all that. And it's not like Philly is the number one attraction of any sports city in the country, even though it's a big sports town. We know how Philly fans are. If this thing doesn't go well, even though he's LeBron, they're still going to voice how they feel because that's Philly. And this roster, I mean, it's a really good roster, but it just never felt to me, and like coming out of his camp, it was never said explicitly like he's just chasing a ring. They kind of said the opposite of that. They were like, hey, they didn't really tell us what he was looking at, but they were like, there's different things that he values. So I thought LeBron would go back to Cleveland, and I thought Golden State was the only other option. And here it is. He's signing with the Philadelphia 76ers. Yes, it has been sent to me that he signed almost an identical contract to DeAndre Jordan. And that's what the Pelicans have done with their offseason is bring back DeAndre Jordan. The other thing, though, about the LeBron, like the contract, it's 2 years, $8 million. Like, look, he signed a let's see if we can win a championship type of deal. I'm not going to take any money. I'm already richer than anybody in the world, so what does it matter? Let's go do this thing. The funny thing to me about that is that the Lakers, like, so clearly were desperate last offseason and the offseasons prior, trying to put more around LeBron, but didn't have the flexibility. And LeBron and his agent were always like, well, why does he have to take a pay cut? He's been the best player in the world for 20 years. And that was always the answer they gave. And so I couldn't help but think, man, I'm not feeling bad for the Lakers today. I won't probably ever feel bad for the Lakers, but they got to be sitting there going, wait a minute, LeBron, if you just signed a 2-year, $8 million deal with us, we might have been a lot better around you. Maybe this thing could have worked longer term. And you'd have more than just the COVID bubble championship that you have with the Lakers. So that's kind of where I was at on it. Just a long, drawn-out process. And now I don't know what to make of what it's going to be like to watch him finish his career in Philadelphia. In a way, again, trying to put myself in the head of, the most accomplished basketball player of a generation. It's not exactly easy for me. I don't know how LeBron thinks day in and out. But like maybe there's this element where he goes, hey, I did it in Cleveland. I brought that championship to them. I did it in Miami before that, right, with the super team. I brought one to the Lakers again, kind of proved that I could go into a place that's got a history of winning and still be in the next chapter of the Lakers franchise success, right, in a way, I guess, if you're making it out to be that way. What if I did it one more time at a place that just hasn't won, right? This Sixers team has been hearing about the process and the career that's been, I don't want to say they've wasted the career of Joel Embiid, but Embiid hasn't been able to stay on the floor, and it's always been close but never there. They've gone through different iterations of it, right? Last year they tried to put a roster together, still couldn't quite get back to it. You wondered if they were going to go full-blown rebuild. And now you add LeBron, you add Jaylen Brown in the same offseason. You get rid of the Paul George contract. Embiid, in theory, is going to be asked to do less than he's ever been asked to do in Philly. Right? Hey, Joel, you're no longer the sole focus center point of this team. Not to mention, you've got Maxey out there, you've got Jaylen, and now LeBron's going to come in Is LeBron the player he was at age 28? No, but he's still really darn good, as we've seen, and what he did with the Lakers last year was incredible. So maybe he puts himself in the best possible situation. I'm sure the betting odds are going to start to shift in favor of the Sixers, right, as being the favorites or close to it. The Knicks and Sixers thing is going to get played up so big, and I think it's going to be awesome, potentially. But I just am still a little bit astonished by the decision. And yes, I'd like it if the Pelicans could make some sort of move to make me feel alive with that fan base. All right, anyway, that's enough NBA for the day. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll switch gears a little bit. We'll have a short segment when we return. Got a couple things, just kind of news and notes. We'll go to the PGA Tour. We'll go to NASCAR. We'll do some of the stuff we haven't done over the weekend, and then we will set you up for Monday Movers to finish the show. It is the Lowdown. Stay tuned.
This is the Lowdown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros improved to 52-55 by taking 2 out of 3 from the Chicago White Sox on the road. That puts them 2 games behind the division-leading Texas Rangers in the AL West. Next up is another road series, this time against the Los Angeles Angels, and it begins tonight. First pitch from Angel Stadium is scheduled for 8:38, and the action can be heard on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. LSU commit and left-handed pitcher Logan Schmidt was selected by the Cleveland Guardians in the second round of this most recent MLB draft, but decided to not sign with the franchise. Kobe Buffkin is signing a training camp deal with the New Orleans Pelicans and will be one of the players competing for the final roster spot. Buffkin's a former first-round pick back in 2023 and played for New Orleans during the Vegas Summer League. Back on Friday, LeBron James finally made a decision and elected to sign a 2-year deal with the Philadelphia 76ers to return to the Eastern Conference. James will be paid $8 million over the 2-year deal. The expected Philadelphia starting lineup now features Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, LeBron James, and Joel Embiid. And Jackson Koiven won the 3M Open at 21 years old, becoming the youngest American golfer to win a PGA Tour event by multiple shots in 94 years. I'm James Mesh, and this has been your 2-minute drill on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana sports station, your home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you. Do you need more of the fellas here on Southwest Louisiana's sports station? Of course you do. So go make sure and subscribe to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles YouTube channel at ESPN_SWLA. Don't forget to turn that bell on so you get notifications for new episodes of 4 Tire Change Podcast, where Dawson Iserloh talks all things NASCAR, or Cleats and Sneaks with James Mesh. Get yourself more of Southwest Louisiana's sports station at ESPN_SWLA on YouTube.
Ready to transform your backyard into the summer paradise you've always dreamed of? With Duplessis Builders custom gunite pool packages, we make it simple to own a stunning, long-lasting, in-ground pool built just for you. Choose from classic designs, all customizable to fit your space, style, and budget. Our pools come with quality finishes, energy-efficient equipment, beautiful lighting, and professional installation from excavation to decking, so you can dive in before the next heat wave hits. Don't just dream it, build it. Visit DuplessisBuilders.net.
This is your Chiropractic Expert Minute, brought to you by Dr. Quentin Briscoe, chiropractic physician.
Hello, I'm Dr. Quentin Briscoe. Veterans, are you struggling with chronic back pain, neck issues, or reduced mobility? You're not alone, and you have options. Chiropractic care is part of your VA health benefits, and at Briscoe Chiropractic, we specialize in non-surgical, drug-free solutions to help manage your pain and improve your well-being. We are proud to work with the VA Community Care Network. Let us help you regain your mobility and enjoy the active life you deserve. In addition to the VA Community Care Network, we are also in network with Blue Cross Blue Shield and Aetna. We accept motor vehicle accidents and workman's comp cases.
To schedule an appointment with Briscoe Chiropractic, visit drqmb.com or call 337-534-0091. That's drqmb.com or 337-534-0091. 534-0091 because your spine deserves expert care.
Your Honor, I would like to introduce exhibit number 1.
MeTV is America's #1 classic television network.
There can only be one number 1, me.
MeTV features over 60 of the greatest classic TV series each week.
Go with the winner.
Enjoy dramas, comedies, westerns, sci-fi, and more.
You just watch me.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on Channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This is ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Broadcasting live from the Beal and Hebert studios in Upper Lafayette. Beal and Hebert, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. Back to more of Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
All right, as I mentioned, there were a couple pretty significant results in some of the peripheral sports. First of all, the X Games were played in New Orleans over the weekend. The X Games, we haven't probably talked about the X Games ever on this show. I used to love the X Games when I was a kid. I never got into like playing and competing in that stuff. I had cousins that were big like dirt bike racers and stuff like that, so I always was fascinated by it. But I always enjoyed the X Games, and they were once a year for a long time. Apparently now it's like a league, and so like I didn't hear anything about it. I mean, it wouldn't have worked out travel-wise because of our week in Tampa, but I was like, man, I wouldn't have mind going to that in New Orleans for a couple of days. But I did watch some of that over the weekend. I don't have anything to break down for you, promise on that, but thought that was cool. The PGA Tour, Jackson Koivin, this kid from Auburn, he's 21 years old, and Auburn, by the way, has had a real run of it recently on the golf scene. They've been putting dudes on tour and winning national championships, SEC titles, things of that nature. Jackson Koivin beat Scotty Scheffler on Sunday to win the 3M Open. And he beat him by 3 shots. James had it in the drill there. You heard, the historical significance of a guy of that age doing it. It is crazy to me, too. Sometimes golf is one of those sports where I think in football and somewhat in basketball and baseball, it's just easier to track how old everybody is because there's this like default age that you start out at, right? And so it's definitely the easiest for football because generally with the 3-year college rule and the eligibility stuff, everybody's generally between 21 and 23 when they enter the NFL. There are, of course, outliers and exceptions, and nowadays guys who've spent the 5th, 6th years and occasionally somebody who's super young who just barely makes the age to be eligible for the draft. But when you hear about a player in the NFL and then you just do the math back and you go, oh, he's been in the league 4 years, I guess he's like 26, 27 years old. Golf doesn't have that always because some guys go pro when they're 17 and some guys don't make it on tour until they're 26. And so you maybe just didn't hear the name or anything. But I saw a list of players that are all the same age that included like Akshay Bhatia and Ludwig Oberg. And this Jackson Koivin kid being 21 years old, man, is just wild to then watch him win up against Scotty. Now, I know a lot of people were surprised Scotty even played in this tournament because it's the 3M Open. It's not a super big tournament. It's at a course that is pretty gettable. Usually guys shoot crazy numbers at. So, but he, committed to it and he played in it, and good on him for playing in it. Shot an incredible number on Sunday as well, and it just didn't matter. Remember, we had told you back when we were in Tampa, about the scoring outbursts where you had, a 59 shot by Michael Kim early in this event. So, despite all that, Koivin beats out Scheffler, shoots 25 under for this event. Just ridiculous. Then, on the NASCAR scene, it was the Brickyard 400, for those of you who are into that. We will be having a new 4-tire change coming up at some point in the next few weeks, new episode of the pod, but it was won by Corey Heim. Corey Heim's a young driver. I think he's 24, 23, something like that. and he's only running a part-time schedule. The Brickyard 400 is one of the quote-unquote crown jewels, so you can compare it to a major in golf. Heim had never raced at this racetrack. And you know, for, like, I guess you could compare that to saying a golfer who's never seen a course before and shows up and wins a professional event. That's, I guess, what it would be the equivalent of. Until, you know, that week and the practice rounds that week. But racetracks even more so because there's only a set number of them and they go to them every year in NASCAR. Like, there's such an advantage from just running and turning laps at a place over and over and over again. This kid went out in his 15th ever start and won a crown jewel event in NASCAR running a part-time schedule at a track he'd never been to prior to the weekend of the race. So a couple of just pretty wild things in two peripheral sports that I care about a lot and, you know, talk about on the show when they're relevant. In the world of golf and the world of NASCAR. So Heim wins that race. Denny Hamlin had a chance late, kind of had a slip up, and then fell backwards, and it's kind of impossible to pass there. So a lot of people weren't super satisfied with the quality of racing, but nonetheless, Corey Heim ends up winning it, and he's a name that you're probably going to be hearing a lot of in the near future. And now, at least in the world of golf, it appears like we're going to be hearing the same thing with this Jackson Koiven kid, who, as I said, I went back to it as well. The thing that blows my mind when some of these young players like don't get swallowed up by the moment, especially in the world of golf, because it's just, you know, it's a pressure cooker. It's one guy, one shot. To go into the last day with a lead, but Scotty shoot 63 the way he did and like put that number up there at 22, where, you know, when Koiven turns for the back nine, he's only at 21. At 23 under. So he only has a one-shot lead over what the number that Scotty posted. And then down the stretch, just never wavered. And he hit a drive on 18. It looked a little sketchy. Didn't matter. Ends up making a par there. Shoots 66 on his way to winning this tournament. So just crazy stuff. And it will be definitely interesting to see what this kid does in the near future. Not bad, by the way. Walks away with $1.584 million for this tournament win. So I think he's going to be having himself a heck of a week in the week following. This week, by the way, on tour, we do head to the Rocket Classic, and I think they've said this is the last one. We've only got 2 PGA Tour tournaments before the FedEx Cup playoffs start. So the Rocket Classic in Detroit, Michigan. The reigning winners, Aldrich Potgieter. It's actually a pretty good field, though. A lot of guys, I think, trying to make their way up in the points to put themselves in a better spot. To make sure they're comfortably in the FedEx Cup playoffs. So you've got another PGA Tour tournament coming up in the slowest part of the calendar year, right? At least sports-wise. So let's go ahead. We'll take a break. Got a couple things on the other side of it, right? We'll do Monday Movers as we always do. I've got one in there that I haven't talked about yet. You may have seen the story. It's just stuff's going on at a certain college. They've got a certain coach who's got a lot of notoriety, and yet another weird, troubling chapter has been written into that tenure. We'll discuss that along with the rest of our Monday Movers storylines to close out the show, and we'll finish you off with an update to the poll question of the day and a look at the probable pitching matchup for tonight's Astros and Angels series opener up in Anaheim. All that after the break. You're listening to the LohDown, coming down the home stretch, ESPN Southwest Louisiana Sports Station.
This is the LohDown with D-Loh, live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Oh, it is that time of the year. It's the time where I get to work on my pronunciation of Cajun/French words. The annual Fête du Teche boat procession. It flowed off the tongue pretty good. It'll be floating down the Bayou Teche on August the 15th. Thousands of people come every year to celebrate their faith and South Louisiana heritage. The day begins with a mass by Bishop J. Douglas Deschantel at St. Leo's Catholic Church in Leonville before the dozens of boats depart along the Bayou Teche all the way to St. Martinville, retracing the voyage of the Acadians over 250 years ago. There are many stops along the way for people to pray and give public witness to their faith. For more information, visit Fête du Teche. That's FETEDIEU, FêteDuDeteche.org.
ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Road coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
August 15th is the date for the 12th annual Fête du Teche boat procession down the Bayou Teche. The day begins with Mass en Francais with Bishop Desatel at 8 a.m. at St. Leo's Church in Leonville. The boats then depart for a Eucharistic boat procession ending in St. Martinville. Register your boat today or find out more information at fêteduteche.org or by liking their Facebook page. Don't miss the 12th annual Fête du Teche, Saturday, August 15th.
Acadiana area businesses. Is it time to make an impact? Time for more traffic, more engagement, time for more customers? Then it's time to make a splash with Bass. Bass is now offering digital marketing, indoor and outdoor digital signage, billboards, and video production to help you reach more customers and close more business. For over 30 years, Bass has helped our customers tell their story. Bass Companies. Remember, a business without a sign is a sign of no business. Advertise with Bass. Find us around Acadiana or at bassltd.com.
Oh, look who's here.
Everybody Loves Raymond is on MeTV.
Who told you that?
Raymond!
America's #1 classic TV network.
Nothing even comes close.
Enjoy 2 back-to-back episodes every weeknight.
We're doing it twice.
Watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, it's all about you, Raymond.
Weeknights starting at 8 on MeTV.
Watch MeTV Acadiana on KLWB, over the air on channel 50.1. Check your local cable listings for the channel in your area.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
I've been driving trucks for a long time. Safety is my #1 priority. I know that my truck has huge blind spots. That's why I remember to check my mirrors often for smaller vehicles. Everyone can help keep our roads safe. Next time you're behind the wheel, try to avoid lingering in those blind spots. It can be dangerous. Let's all plan to share the road safely. Learn how at www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
Monday. Is it really Monday already? Plenty of things in the sports world have been on the move in the past week. Question is, have they been moving up or moving down? D-Loh is here to evaluate. It's time for Monday Movers on the LohDown.
All right, it's how we end the Monday shows. Kind of a recap of the day, recap of the weekend. What's going on in the world of sports? Let's summarize it for you quickly. And I'm going to start with the one I actually haven't discussed yet on the show today. What's moving down is the credibility right now of North Carolina football. Michael Lombardi was brought in, respected name in the NFL world, of course. And, hey, Bill Belichick's running this thing. I'll be honest with you. I was surprised this thing made it to year 2 after the way last year went. And, this legacy that Belichick held that he seems to be totally okay with just completely shredding down to the core. If there's any left, any of the credibility left and the legacy left, he's doing his best to get rid of it. And so Michael Lombardi comes in to be the GM, and you go, hey, well, you know what? College football now, GM, that's kind of a thing. People have those, so that might make some sense, right? Guy who's familiar being an executive in the front office. In the NFL, he'll come in, he'll take an approach to these contracts, and this could be a good thing for UNC, right? Maybe. Well, he is now put on administrative leave, paid administrative leave by the university for whatever that means, following a human resources complaint filed by a former football front office employee. So that's pretty vague. We also find out, per Pablo Torre, who's now gotten a second mention on the show today, that the UNC football team is being investigated by the College Sports Commission, which is the entity that handles compliance and enforcement of the NCAA and NIL rules. So in an era where it's nearly impossible to get in trouble for that stuff, apparently UNC might find a way to get in trouble for it. And their GM's on paid administrative leave when we're, a month away from the start of the season. So, yes, things are going about as well as they did last year in Chapel Hill with our good old friend Bill Belichick. Other than that, as I mentioned, what's moving down, the average age of the winners on the PGA Tour this year, because Jackson Koiven, the 21-year-old, wins by 3 shots over Scotty Scheffler. And combine that with NASCAR as well, because the youngster Corey Heim did it at the Brickyard 400. Couple of really impressive performances from players and athletes that are of a very young age. What's moving up is the anticipation towards college football season, man. We are there. Media days, I think, are just about done everywhere. I don't know if anybody's got any left to go. I know the American did theirs over the weekend. So we're getting some more sound bites. All that stuff is building towards an exciting season. What's moving down is the number of days towards the Major League Baseball trade deadline. That is right. We're down to 7. A week from today, the deadline will come and go. Supposedly, by the way, you've got teams maybe considering the lockout as part of their bargaining process, what they're willing to do at the deadline. You have this labor stoppage thing looming. It is a really weird trade deadline, right? Not one that I think we've seen something quite like before. So what does that mean for teams around the league? What does that mean for teams like Atlanta and New York and Tampa and the Dodgers, who all feel like they have a good chance to win a championship this year? What does that mean for those teams that are in that second tier right now? Your Bostons, your Texases, the Astros even, the Cubs, the teams that are kind of trying to chase and maybe in the mix, but like, do they need to add? What do they do here? And then, obviously, what does it also mean for the teams that are selling? Would they be willing to sell for a different rate because, hey, we don't know if there's going to be baseball next year? I don't know the answers to any of these questions, but I'm throwing them out there for you. So that is how we'll conclude this edition of Monday Movers. Our poll question of the day, we asked you what the Astros should do at said deadline. Still leading the way is all of the above. We want them to go out and get a bat, get a couple arms, get a starter, a reliever, get it all. I hear you, but at the end of the day, I don't know if the front office is going to have the resources required to go out and do that. I still think if you got to prioritize one, I think it's give you one more bat in that lineup. Lengthen that lineup a little bit. Jordan Alvarez is having an MVP, unprecedented type season. A season that could be talked about for a long time if he continues on the pace he's on, right? I mean, he's in the conversation for a major league triple crown, not just an American League, a major league triple crown. I want one more bat in that lineup to protect him a little bit. Isak's been swinging it better, but I still think you can add that. As far as the pitching's concerned, I get it. You've traded away McCullers and Gordon. That was some of your depth, but Ronald Blanco's been back in the mix. Christian Javier is still a mess, and that might not end well, but I have at least a little bit of faith and hope that Blanco sturdies and solidifies, and maybe Arrighetti gets back in the mix at some point as well. But I think the bat's the bigger priority. I do think, there's certainly some shortcomings at both, but they're also playing better baseball right now. They've won 5 of their last 6 for a reason, and so, hey, maybe they're going to keep it going. They will face the Angels tonight. I mentioned I was going to give you the starting pitching matchup just because I think it's really fascinating. Tatsuya Imai is going to throw again for the Stros tonight. He was very good last time out, but we know the season's been so up and down. 6-4 with a 5.59 ERA. Walbert Urania, who is the 22-year-old who's been a revelation for the Angels this season, in his inaugural full big league campaign, he is 6-7, but don't pay attention to that. The ERA is a 2.78. In 87 and a third innings pitched, he struck out 83. Hitters are only hitting 2.08 against him. Walbert Urania may be the rising star in the Angels organization, originally from the Dominican Republic. The Astros get a chance to go up against him tonight. That is in Anaheim, as we mentioned, an 8:38 start time for the Stros and the Angels. That'll do it for us here on the Lowdown, a Monday edition of the show, back here in the friendly confines of the Beal and Hebert Studios in Upper Lafayette. We appreciate you for tuning in. Thanks to our friends that help us put this show on. Small Sliders as well, as I mentioned before. The anniversary bash was a whole lot of fun. Hope you got a chance to go out and see that a little bit. That'll do it for us, as I mentioned. Thank you to Kevin Foote. Thank you to RP3, our 2 guests today. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same places, 1 to 3. We'll run it back once more. Until then, though, enjoy your day. Stay safe. Try to stay cool out there. AFR is next. Around Acadiana, community means supporting the businesses that make our hometown special. That's why we're proud to spotlight local companies.